Welcome. Now you are going to listen to a ReputationUP podcast. Let's get started. Online Reputation of the 7 G7 Leaders, Case Study. A study led by ReputationUP has analyzed the online reputation of the 7 G7 leaders after the political summit held between 11 and 13 June. Thanks to the accurate analysis, we discover the sentiment and the online perception towards the world's 7 most powerful politicians. What is G7? The Group of 7, G7, is a socio-economic organization consisting of 7 heads of government of the following countries: Canada, United States, France, Italy, Japan, United Kingdom, Germany. The 7 members are the world's most influential leaders who discuss the most important global issues. The European Commission has underlined the role of these annual summits. The annual G7 summits have over the years developed into a platform for determining the course of multilateral discourse and shaping political responses to global challenges. The 2020 meeting was cancelled because of COVID-19. However, 2 years after the last gathering, the leaders met again in Cornwall, UK. What did the G7 leaders decide? After a 3-day meeting, G7 leaders shared their goals through a press release. End the pandemic and prepare for the future. Reinvigorate economies. Secure prosperity. Protect the planet. Strengthen partnerships. Embrace G7 values. Who are the G7 leaders? The G7 consists of heads of government of the summit state members. Canada's Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. U.S. President, Joe Biden. Japan's Prime Minister, Yoshihide Suga. UK's Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. Italy's Prime Minister, Mario Draghi. France's President, Emmanuel Macron. Germany's Chancellor, Angela Merkel. These countries are part of the G7 for their global net wealth and gross domestic product, GDP. In its World Economic Outlook report, the International Monetary Fund has analyzed the GDP projections. In 2020, the 7 countries have recorded a negative trend due to the pandemic. On the other hand, the IMF is projecting growth in 2021 and 2022. G7 leaders, the analysis. Parliamentary decisions and political agendas influence politicians' online perceptions, like the Iván Duque case and tax reform. The ReputationUP Study Center has analyzed the online reputation of the G7 leaders as of 13th of June. The G7 held the last summit on that day. Thus, we can observe the sentiment aroused by politicians after the 3-day meeting and agreements. Thus, the ReputationUP Study Center has examined the results and sentiment of the leaders to monitor their online reputation. Results refer to interactions over a given period. The sentiment measures the percentage of positive or negative sentiment generated by users on social networks. The ReputationUP Study Center's software, RepUp monitoring tool, has also calculated the net sentiment generated by politicians on the internet. It determines the percentage on a scale between -100 to 100. Such data are vital to winning an election campaign and governing successfully. Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau became Prime Minister of Canada in 2015, thanks to an outright majority. He is one of the most progressive and influential global leaders, famous for defending gender equality, the environment, making marijuana legal, etc. Justin Trudeau records a positive sentiment of 10.6% and a negative one of 44.7%. Although the net sentiment has increased by 28% from the previous day, the total rate remains negative, standing at -61.5%. On the other hand, he obtained 4,000 online results. The figures indicate that a strategy focused on improving online reputation would have been helpful to change this negative trend. Joe Biden. Joe Biden had a personal goal to achieve by attending the first G7 summit, to regain the credibility damaged by Donald Trump at the White House. Joe Biden is the leader who collected the most online results, 96,200, with a significant distance from other politicians. His positive sentiment is 10.8%, while the negative one is 31.6%. Therefore, the net sentiment is around minus 48.9%. Yoshihide Suga. Like Joe Biden, also Yoshihide Suga participated for the first time at G7. After Japan's previous prime minister resigned in 2020, national deputies and prefectural representatives of the Liberal Democratic Party elected him. Yoshihide Suga appeared in a few results on the web, only 184. A shallow score for a politician. His positive sentiment is 22.3%, while the negative one is 3.3%. Such a neutral sentiment causes the net sentiment to be 74.5%. Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson is Britain's Prime Minister since 2019. The United Kingdom officially withdrew from the European Union under his government, where he turned out to be one of the key players in Brexit. Boris Johnson reached 50,400 results in just one day. His positive sentiment is 7%, while the negative one is 41.2%. These data produce net sentiment of minus 68.6%, with a growth of 25%, compared to the previous day. The analysis indicates that it would be necessary to refine his personal or political brand's online reputation management to reverse this negative course. Mario Draghi. Mario Draghi attended his first G7 summit 4 months after his appointment as Italy's prime minister. He previously held executive positions at the European Central Bank, the World Bank, and Bank of Italy. The analysis outcome for Mario Draghi was 2,100 results, a relatively lower figure than other politicians. Nonetheless, his positive sentiment, 11.7%, outweighs the negative sentiment, 6.3%. These data generate a positive net sentiment of 31%. Emmanuel Macron. Emmanuel Macron is the president of the French Republic since 2017. During these 4 years, he has been facing several crises, such as breaking out after the labor code reform. However, Macron is the leading supporter of the proposals aimed at refounding the European Union. Emmanuel Macron obtained 5,800 results. His positive sentiment score, 7.5%, is lower than the negative one, 22.5%. The result of the net sentiment is, therefore, minus 49.7%. Angela Merkel. Angela Merkel has been Germany's chancellor since 2005 and confirms herself being the most experienced G7 leader. She is one of the most influential European political figures. She played a guiding role in getting the Lisbon Treaty through in 2009, refound the European Union, and responding to the pandemic. In 2020, Forbes magazine named her as the world's most powerful woman. Angela Merkel reached 2,000 results. Her sentiment score is very balanced, positive, 12.1%, and negative, 9.6%. The net sentiment stands at 11.7%. Conclusions. The Study Center of ReputationUP, a leader in web reputation, has analyzed the online reputation of the G7 leaders after the end of the summit. We can draw the following conclusions from this analysis. Joe Biden is the politician with the most online results, 96,200. He imposes himself with a certain distance from others. Boris Johnson holds second place, with 50,400 results. The remaining exponents do not reach 6,000 results. Yoshihide Suga has the best reputation, but his online influence, interactions, is minimal. Angela Merkel and Mario Draghi are the winners of this analysis. They both have good online influence and positive sentiment. Emmanuel Macron, minus 49.7%, Joe Biden, minus 48.9%, Boris Johnson, minus 68.6%, and Justin Trudeau, minus 61.5%, have a negative online sentiment, instead. Boris Johnson has the worst sentiment score among the 7 leaders, minus 68.6%. We at ReputationUP thank you for listening to this podcast. Until next time.